She thought her family's secrets were buried forever, until one rebellious moment shattered everything. What the sun uncovered behind closed doors would turn their world upside down, revealing lies so dark no one could escape their past. In this story, you'll see how one brave outsider's return exposes the truth, tears down walls of control, and sparks a battle for freedom that no one expected. And trust me, the shocking twist at the end will leave you breathless. You won't believe how a tiny act of rebellion ignited a chain of events that changed everything, for better or worse. If you think family secrets should stay hidden, think again. And if you're curious about how love and honesty can finally break a cycle of control, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. I want to know. Hit that like button if you believe in the power of truth. And stay tuned for a story about courage, betrayal, and the fight to finally be free. I woke up early that morning. The sun was just starting to peek through the windows. I stayed in bed, listening to the quiet sounds of the house. It was always quiet here. It was always the same. My mother was already downstairs. She was strict. She liked everything to be perfect. She watched over us like a hawk. I could hear her walking around, checking that the house was clean. Her voice was calm but firm. She liked to remind us of the rules. I sat up slowly. My room was small and neat. Everything had a place. I liked the feeling of knowing where everything was. It made me feel safe. But I also felt a little trapped. I looked at my sister. She was still sleeping. She was younger than me, maybe 10 years old. She's kind and gentle. She always tries to make me smile. I wished I could tell her how I felt, but I was afraid of making her upset. I got out of bed quietly. I didn't want to wake anyone. I went to the window. Outside, I saw the big yard. The grass was green. The trees were tall. But I knew I couldn't go outside alone. That would make my mother angry. Downstairs, I heard her voice again. She was talking to my father. I couldn't hear what they said, but I knew she was telling him to be careful. She always wanted everything under control. I felt a little dizzy. Sometimes, I got nervous when I thought about going out into the world. It was so big and loud. I liked my quiet house. I liked my small world. Suddenly, my mother came into my room. She looked at me with her sharp eyes. "Time to get ready," she said. Her voice was kind but firm. I nodded. I knew what she meant. It was time for breakfast and then school. But I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay here, safe, in my little house. My mother helped me put on my coat. She always made sure I was dressed perfectly. She checked my hair and my shoes. Everything had to be just right. In the kitchen, my sister was already eating cereal. She looked happy. She didn't worry about the rules. She just ate and smiled. My mother sat at the table. She watched us carefully. "Eat your breakfast," she said. "We need to leave soon." I ate slowly. My hands trembled a little. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to go to school and face the noisy world. When it was time to go, my mother handed me my bag. She gave me a little squeeze. "Remember," she said softly, "stay with your sister. Do what I say. Everything will be fine." I nodded again. We left the house and walked to the car. It was always the same. Same morning, same rules, same quiet. As we drove to school, I looked out the window. The world outside was big and bright. I felt small and scared. I wished I could stay inside forever. At school, everything was different. Kids ran and shouted. Teachers talked loudly. I tried to stay close to my sister. She was brave. She played with her friends. After school, we went back home. The house was quiet again. My mother was waiting in the kitchen. She looked at me and smiled a little, but I could see she was tired. That night, I lay in my bed. I thought about my day. I thought about the house, the rules, and the quiet. I wondered if there was more outside my little world, but I was afraid to find out. I closed my eyes. I wished for something different. Maybe one day I would find a way to be free. Maybe one day I could do more than just stay inside. But for now, I stayed quiet and safe. I knew my family loved me, and I knew I had to be careful, just like they wanted. This was my life. It was small. It was safe. But I wondered what was beyond the door. I wondered what I could be if I ever found the courage. And so, my story begins here, in a house where control keeps us quiet and safe. But I know deep inside, something is waiting to be found, something that might change everything. That was the first day of my story. I woke up in the house that felt tight and small. The sunlight sneaked through the window, but I didn't move. I knew today would be the same as every day. Rules, routines, and my mother watching over us like a guard. She was already up, moving around quickly, making sure everything was perfect. I sat up slowly. My legs felt stiff. My heart was a little nervous. I looked at my sister sleeping next to me. She was peaceful, her breathing soft. I wanted to tell her something, but I didn't know how. Instead, I just sat quietly, thinking. Today was another day I wanted to do something different. I wanted to leave the house, go outside, see the sky, feel the wind. But I knew I couldn't. My mother was always there, watching. She said the outside was dangerous, that I wasn't ready. I looked at the door. I wondered what it would be like to open it and run outside, just for a little while. Maybe I could breathe better out there. Maybe I could find something new. Suddenly, I felt a little angry. Why should I stay inside forever? Why should I do everything she told me? I felt a tiny spark inside, a feeling I hadn't had before. It was a strange mix of fear and hope. I decided to try. I quietly got out of bed and tiptoed toward the door. My hands were shaking. I reached for the door handle. It was cold. I took a deep breath. Just then, I heard my mother's voice. "Where are you going?" she asked, standing in the doorway. Her eyes were sharp, and her face was serious. I froze. My heart pounded. I wanted to say I was just curious, just a little. But I didn't. I felt my voice catch in my throat. She looked at me. "You're not ready," she said. "Come back. Stay inside where it's safe." I wanted to tell her I was tired of being safe all the time. But instead, I nodded and stepped back. I closed the door slowly. I felt small and trapped again. After that, I sat on my bed. My mind was racing. I looked out the window at the outside world. The trees swayed gently, and the birds chirped. I wanted to run out there, to find my own way, but I knew I couldn't. Not yet. My mother was too strong. She wanted to keep me safe, she said. But I started to believe maybe I needed to find my own safe place, somewhere I could breathe and be myself. Later, my sister sat next to me. She looked worried but gentle. "What were you thinking?" she asked softly. I shrugged. "I wanted to go outside," I said quietly. She smiled a little. "Maybe someday," she said. "Maybe we can find a way to be free." I nodded, feeling a little better, even if I couldn't leave today. I knew I had hope. I would keep trying, little by little. One day, maybe I would find the door that leads to my freedom. Until then, I would wait and watch, dreaming of the outside. I woke up early that morning. The house was quiet, but I felt nervous. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to leave the house and see what was outside. I looked at the door. It was closed, always closed. My mother kept it locked. She said it kept us safe, but I felt trapped. I sat on my bed and thought. I wanted to run away, just for a little while. Maybe I could walk outside, look around, and come back before anyone noticed. I took a deep breath and slowly moved toward the door. My heart was pounding. I reached out my hand to open it. Suddenly, I heard footsteps. It was my mother. She was standing in the doorway, watching me. Her face was serious. "Where are you going?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but firm. I froze. I didn't want to lie. I looked down and said, "I just want to see outside." She stepped closer. "You know you can't go out alone. It's dangerous." I felt angry and sad. I wanted to leave, but I knew she wouldn't let me. I looked at her and said, "I'm tired of staying inside all the time." She shook her head. "You don't need to go out. Everything you need is here." But I felt a strong urge inside me. I clenched my fists. I wanted to do something to show I was tired of being controlled. I wanted to be free. That afternoon, I found an old matchbox in the drawer. I knew I wasn't supposed to use matches, but I felt like I needed to do something big. I wanted my mother to see that I was angry and that I was starting to fight back. I waited until my mother was busy with the laundry. I took a match and lit it carefully. I didn't want to make a big fire, just a small one to make a point. I held the match close to some paper in the trash bin. It caught fire quickly. I panicked. I blew out the flame fast, but some smoke was still coming out. I didn't want to burn the house down, but I felt my pulse racing. I threw the trash bin lid on the fire and ran to my room. Suddenly, I heard shouting. My mother was at the door. She looked angry and scared. "Why did you do that? Do you want to burn everything?" she yelled. I didn't say anything. I just looked away. I felt ashamed, but also relieved. I had tried to do something, to show I was not happy. But my mother was upset and scared now. She told me to sit down and stay in my room. That night, everything felt wrong. The house was filled with smoke, and I knew I had gone too far. I felt guilty and afraid. My mother kept talking about safety and danger. She said I was not ready to be free. The next morning, the house was still tense. My mother didn't let me go outside. She had the windows open to let the smoke out. I sat quietly, feeling stuck again. Later that day, I saw my sister. She looked worried. I sat beside her. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. "I just want to go outside," I said quietly. She smiled a little. "One day maybe we will, but for now, we have to be careful." I nodded. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but I also didn't want to stay inside forever. I was tired of feeling so small and powerless. That night, I lay on my bed. I looked at the ceiling and thought about what I wanted. I knew I had to be patient. I wanted to find a way to be free without causing harm. I wanted to prove I could be brave. The house was still quiet. Outside, the city was moving. I closed my eyes and made a silent promise to myself. One day, I would find my way out. One day, I would be free. I wake up to the soft morning light coming through the small window. The house feels quiet, too quiet. I sit on the edge of my bed and listen. I can hear my mother moving in the kitchen, her footsteps steady and sure. She always starts her day early, making sure everything is perfect. Today, I feel different. There is a small voice inside me that says I cannot stay quiet anymore. I want to do something, anything, to feel free. But I also feel worried. If I try to be brave, what will happen? I get up slowly and walk to the window. Outside, I see the street. It looks busy and full of life I am not used to. I think about leaving this house, just for a little while. I want to see the world beyond these walls, but I know my mother is watching, and I am afraid. In the kitchen, I hear my mother humming. She is making tea and checking her list of rules. I see her straighten her clothes and then look at the clock. She expects me to stay inside today, to follow her rules. I want to tell her I am tired of this, but I stay quiet. My little sister is sitting at the table. She is drawing a picture. She smiles when she sees me look outside. "Are you thinking about going out?" she asks softly. I nod. "Maybe, just for a little while." She looks worried, but also hopeful. "Be careful," she says. "I wish we could go somewhere else sometimes." I smile a little. She is kind, even if she doesn't fully understand. We both want more than this small house. Suddenly, I feel something inside me. A need to do something big. I want to prove I can be brave. I remember the fire I started last week. It was small, just a candle that got out of control. My mother was very angry, and I was scared. But I also felt a tiny spark inside, something that said I am not weak. Today, I want to do more. I want to see if I can find a way out. I am nervous, but I take a deep breath. I walk slowly through the house and look at the door. It is always locked. I try to open it quietly, just to see if it's possible. My hand trembles a little, but I manage to turn the handle. It clicks open. My heart beats fast. I step outside into the hall. It is cold, and I can feel the wind on my face. I take a step forward, then another. I am trying to be brave. Suddenly, I hear my mother calling from the kitchen. "Where are you? Come back inside." My stomach twists. I want to run, but I stop myself. I take a few deep breaths and decide to go back. I walk slowly to the door, close it carefully, and turn the handle to lock it again. I feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. I wanted to do something different, but I am still safe inside. Later, I sit on my bed again. I think about what I did. I am proud that I tried. I know I cannot stay quiet forever. I want to find a way to be free, even if it's just a small step. My sister comes to sit beside me. She looks at me with kind eyes. "You are brave," she says softly. "Maybe someday we can all be free." I nod. I don't say much, but I feel hope. Maybe one day I will find the real way out. Until then, I will keep trying, little by little. That morning, I learned that even small steps can make a big difference. I may be scared, but I am not helpless. I want to be brave, for myself and for the people I love. I look out the window again and imagine a future where I am free. It feels far away, but I know it's possible. And in my heart, I keep that hope alive. I woke up on a cold morning. The house was quiet. I looked around and saw my mother sitting at the kitchen table. She was reading her papers. She looked serious. I felt a little nervous. I wanted to do something different today. I wanted to leave the house, just for a little while. I took a deep breath. I remembered what I had planned. I had tried before to open the front door. Today, I wanted to try again. I tiptoed close to the door. My hand reached for the doorknob. It was cold and shiny. I turned it slowly. The door didn't open. I pushed gently. It was locked. I felt my heart beat faster. I wanted to open it so badly. I looked back at my mother. She didn't notice me. She was busy with her papers. I took a step back. I put my hand on the door again. I pushed harder. It didn't move. Suddenly, I heard my mother speak. "What are you doing?" she asked. I felt my face get hot. I turned to her and said, "I want to go outside, just for a little while." She looked at me with her serious eyes. She shook her head. "No, it's not safe," she said. "You have to stay here." I wanted to tell her I was brave enough. I was tired of feeling trapped, but I didn't say anything. I looked down and stepped back from the door. That morning, I felt a strong wish inside me. I wanted to be free. I wanted to do something different. But I also felt scared. I knew she wouldn't let me leave. Not yet. Later, my sister came into the room. She was smiling softly. She sat next to me. "Are you okay?" she asked. I nodded. I wanted to tell her how I felt. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Maybe someday," she said quietly, "we will find a way to be free." I looked at her and felt a little hope. Maybe I wouldn't always be trapped. That day, I learned something. I learned that wanting to escape is normal. Everyone feels it sometimes. But I also learned that being brave means waiting for the right time. I knew I had to be patient. I had to be smart. As the day went on, I watched my family. My mother was still serious. My sister was kind. And I was still here. In this house that felt too small. But inside me, something was changing. I was beginning to see that I could be strong. I could wait. And one day, I would find my way out. That night, I sat on my bed and looked at the stars through the window. I didn't say anything. I just listened to the quiet. I thought about my hopes and my fears. Maybe someday, I would leave this house. Maybe I would find my own way. For now, I would wait. I would be patient, and I would keep dreaming of freedom. Because I knew, deep inside, that I was not alone, and one day I would be free. I woke up early on a cold morning. The house was quiet. I looked around and saw that everything was the same, tight, small, and full of rules. I felt a little tired of always doing what Mom said. I wanted to do something different, something for myself. For a long time, I had been trying to find a way out of this house. I wanted to see the world beyond these walls. Sometimes, I opened the front door just a little, hoping nobody would notice. But every time, Mom was there immediately, her eyes sharp and telling me to stay inside. Today, I felt a little stronger. I decided to try again. I quietly moved to the door. My hand reached out. I pushed the door slightly. It opened just a crack. My heart started to beat fast. I looked outside. The street was empty. The sky was gray. I wanted to go outside so badly. Suddenly, I heard a noise behind me. Mom was in the kitchen. She was watching me from the doorway. I froze. I knew I wasn't supposed to open the door. My stomach felt tight. I quickly closed it, pretending I was just doing nothing. Mom walked over. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice firm but calm. I looked down. "Nothing," I mumbled. She sighed. "You shouldn't open the door," she said. "It's dangerous. Stay inside." I nodded, feeling a little sad. I wanted her to understand, but she never did. She thought she was protecting me, but I felt trapped. After breakfast, I sat on the sofa and looked out the window. I thought about how I wanted to escape, even if just for a little while. I knew I was not alone. My sister was sitting nearby. She saw me and smiled softly. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. I nodded again. She knew I was tired of being kept inside. She gave me a small hug. "We will find a way," she whispered. Later, I decided to talk to her about my feelings. I told her I wanted to see the outside world. She listened carefully. "I feel the same," she said softly. "I wish we could go away, even for one day." We looked out the window together. Outside, the world was big and full of things we didn't see every day. We both dreamed of running free, far from this house. That afternoon, Mom was busy cleaning. She was worried about keeping everything perfect. I watched her for a moment. I wondered if she ever felt scared inside. Maybe she was afraid of losing control. But she never showed it. My sister and I planned quietly. We didn't say much, but we knew what the other was thinking. Maybe someday, we could be free. That evening, after dinner, I sat alone in my room. I thought about all my hopes. I knew it wouldn't be easy to escape, but I also knew I couldn't give up. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. In my heart, I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe one day I would find a way out of this house. Maybe I would see the world beyond these walls. For now, I would keep dreaming and trying. I knew I wasn't alone. My sister was with me. We would find a way, step by step, to be free from this prison of rules and worries. And I promised myself that I wouldn't stop believing. Because even in the smallest moments, hope can grow stronger. Tomorrow was a new day, and I would try again. I woke up early on Christmas morning. The house was quiet, but I felt nervous. It was the day we always tried to pretend everything was perfect. I looked around the room. Everything looked the same. Decorations, gifts, the big tree. But I knew inside, something was different this year. My sister was still sleeping. I moved quietly so I wouldn't wake her. I wanted to help her get ready for breakfast. I thought about how strange it was that we celebrated Christmas, but inside, things felt cold and tight. Suddenly, I heard a cough. It was my sister. She was sitting up in bed, rubbing her face. She looked tired, but smiled when she saw me. "Good morning," she said softly. "Morning," I replied. I wanted to tell her how much I cared. She was brave, even in a house that didn't feel safe sometimes. We went downstairs together. The house smelled like cinnamon and pine. Our mother was already in the kitchen. She was wearing her usual serious face, making sure everything was perfect. "Sit down," she said. "Breakfast will be ready soon." We sat at the table. I looked at my sister and wondered if she knew that today might be different. I wanted to do something brave, like I had tried before, trying to open the door, lighting a small fire, or sneaking outside. But I was also worried about what might happen. Suddenly, my sister reached for a piece of bread and put it in her mouth. As she chewed, she suddenly started coughing. She couldn't stop. Her face turned red. I felt panic rise inside me. "Are you okay?" I asked, jumping up from my seat. She nodded, but her coughing got worse. She was choking. My heart raced. I remembered what I had seen in a movie once, what to do if someone is choking. I grabbed her from behind gently, and I pushed firmly on her back. I did it again and again. Finally, she coughed out the piece of bread and took a deep breath. She looked at me with big, surprised eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. I felt a strange mixture of relief and pride. I had saved her life. I looked at her and thought about how brave she was, even when things got hard. While I was helping her, I noticed something strange. Near the Christmas tree, there was a small stain on a dress hanging on a chair. It was not new. It looked old and faded. I stared at it for a moment. I wondered why it was there. My mother saw me looking and quickly turned her head. She didn't say anything. I felt a little confused. Why was she so fixated on that dress? Why did she keep looking at it with such focus? After the chaos of the choking was over, everyone sat quietly. The room was still. My sister smiled at me again, and I smiled back. I felt proud, but also curious. Later, as we sat together, I decided to speak. "Mom," I said softly, "what's special about that dress? Why are you so interested in it?" She looked at me sharply. "It's just a dress," she said quickly. "Nothing special." But I saw the way she looked at it. I knew she was hiding something. I realized that maybe, just maybe, that dress had something to do with what we were really hiding in this house. That Christmas morning was different from all the others. I had saved my sister's life, and I had seen a piece of the truth. I didn't understand everything yet, but I knew one thing. I was starting to see more than what was in front of me. And maybe, just maybe, I could find a way to make things better, to find the truth, to be free. I woke up on a cold morning. The house was quiet. I looked around and saw my mother sitting in her chair. She was staring at a stained piece of cloth. I knew she was thinking about it again. It was Christmas time. The house was full of decorations, bright lights, a small tree, and wrapped presents. But inside, something felt off. I could feel the tension in the air. My sister was still sleeping. I quietly moved around, trying not to make noise. I wanted to do something helpful. I wanted to feel brave. Suddenly, I heard a cough. My sister was waking up. I hurried to her side. "Are you okay?" I asked softly. She nodded and smiled. "I'm fine," she whispered. But then she choked on her breakfast. She coughed hard and looked scared. I saw her face turn red. I remembered what I had learned from watching her. I knew what to do. "Hold on," I said quickly. I reached for her and pushed gently on her back. She coughed once more and then took a deep breath. She was okay. I felt a little relief. While I was helping her, I saw my mother still staring at the stained dress. She didn't notice what was happening. She was too busy. I felt a strange feeling inside me. I wanted to do more. I looked closely at my mother. She was so fixated on that dress. She didn't see that my sister was choking. I wondered, how could someone be so blind? That moment made me think about everything. About how my mother controls us. About how she keeps us from seeing the truth. I remembered the small fire I started once. It was a mistake, but it made me feel alive. Now, I wanted to do something big, something that would wake everyone up. But I knew I needed to be careful. I didn't want to get caught again. Just then, my sister finished coughing. She was safe, thanks to me. She looked at me with big, grateful eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. I smiled back. "I'm glad I was here." My mother finally looked at us. She sighed and got up slowly. "Let's get ready for Christmas," she said, her voice still calm, but cold. As she spoke, I saw her eyes flicker. Maybe she was a little worried, a little unsure, but she hit it fast. I felt something inside me change. I was tired of being afraid. I was tired of hiding. This Christmas, I thought, maybe things could be different. Maybe I could find a way out. I looked at my sister again. She was safe. That was good. But I also saw the stained dress. The same dress my mother always looked at. It was dirty and old, but she kept staring at it like it was precious. Why was she so obsessed with it? I didn't understand. Maybe it meant something she didn't want to say. I decided that I wouldn't wait anymore. I wanted to find my own way, to be brave, to break free from the things that kept me trapped. As I watched her fix her dress, I felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe someday I could run away. Maybe someday I could be free. But today I would just start small, help my sister, keep her safe, and think about how I could change everything. Because I knew one thing for sure. This Christmas was not just about presents or decorations. It was about something more. It was about finding the courage to be myself. And that was the first step. I wake up in the house. Everything feels quiet and still. The same walls, the same rules. I look around. I see my mother sitting in her chair. She is staring at the stained dress on the table. She keeps touching it, like it's very important. Her face is tense. She looks worried, but she doesn't say anything. I sit on the edge of my bed. I feel strange. It's been a long time since I came home. More than 10 years. I am not the same person I was then. I am stronger now, calmer. But inside, I still feel the same need to escape, to be free. I look at my sister. She is in the kitchen, making breakfast. She is watching our mother carefully. I want to tell her something, but I don't know what. We both know the house is full of secrets. We both know things are not right. Suddenly, I see my mother stand up. She walks to the window. She looks outside, but doesn't move. Her hands tremble a little. I remember how she used to control everything, how she never let us go outside without her watchful eyes. I take a deep breath. I decide I need to do something, not to run away again, but to show I am no longer afraid. I stand up slowly. I walk to her and say, "Mom, why do you always look at the dress? Why is it so important?" She turns to me quickly. Her eyes are wide. She doesn't want to answer. I see that her face is hiding something. Her hands are clenched. She looks like she wants to say something, but can't. "I just want to know," I say softly. "What is special about that dress?" She sighs and looks down. She doesn't speak for a moment. Then she says, "It's nothing. Just an old stain. It doesn't matter." But I don't believe her. I see her eyes flicker. I see her grip her hands tighter. I know she is hiding something. Something big. Just then, my sister comes into the room. She looks at us both. She has a gentle smile, but her eyes are serious. She whispers, "We should all talk. It's time." I feel a strange feeling inside me. It's like a small spark. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's fear. But I know one thing. I can't stay quiet anymore. I need to ask the truth. Suddenly, there is a loud noise outside. It's a siren, far away, but getting closer. I realize that the outside world is not safe for us. But I also realize that inside this house, something dangerous is hiding too. I look at my mother again. She looks nervous now. Her face is pale. She clutches the stained dress even tighter. I see her eyes dart around, trying to hide her secrets. I take a step closer. I say, "Mom, I want to know the truth. About the dress, about us, about everything." She looks at me with tears in her eyes. She tries to speak, but no words come out. Then she nods slowly. "I was afraid," she whispers. "Afraid of losing what we have. But now, I see it's time to stop hiding." Her voice cracks. I see her weakness. I realize she is not perfect. She is just a woman, scared like us. My sister comes closer. She puts a hand on my arm. She says softly, "Maybe it's time to tell the truth. All of it." For the first time in a long time, I feel a little brave. I feel like I am starting to break free from the prison of secrets. Outside, the siren gets louder. Police cars are coming. Our house is going to be seen. And I know that everything is about to change. I look at my mother. She finally drops the stained dress on the table. She takes a deep breath and looks at us both. "Let's be honest," she says. "It's time to face the truth." And I realize that this is the moment when everything begins to change, when the house and maybe our family will never be the same. Because sometimes the truth can set us free. I felt nervous as I stood in the quiet house. Everything was still and calm. The Christmas lights were flickering softly. The room looked normal, but I could sense that something big was about to happen. Mom was sitting on the couch. She looked at the stained dress on the floor. Her hands trembled a little. She looked tired, but her eyes were serious. She was finally ready to tell the truth. I wanted to say something, but my throat felt tight. I looked at my sister, who was sitting quietly next to Mom. She was holding her breath, waiting too. Then Mom spoke. Her voice was soft but honest. "I have done many wrong things," she said. "I was afraid. I wanted us to be safe. But I see now that my fear hurt all of us." My heart beat fast. I had been waiting for this moment for a long time. I took a deep breath and said, "Mom, I know you tried to make us safe, but it made us feel small and trapped." Mom looked at me with sad eyes. "Yes," she whispered, "I wanted to keep you close. I thought that was love, but I was wrong." My sister reached out and held Mom's hand. "We love you," she said gently. "We need honesty. We need to be real." Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. We all looked at each other. It was the police. They had come because of the trouble we had caused before. But now, everything was about to change. Mom stood up slowly. She looked at us and took a deep breath. "It's time," she said quietly. "Time to face the truth and be brave." The policeman came in. He looked around and saw the stained dress lying on the floor. He looked at us and nodded. It was clear that everything was coming out. I felt a mix of fear and relief. I was glad that Mom was finally telling the truth. I knew that things would not be easy, but maybe now we could start to heal. Mom sat back down and looked at us. Her voice was steady. "I want to say sorry," she said. "Sorry for making you feel scared and small. I see now that love is about being honest and kind." My sister nodded. "We forgive you," she said softly. The police officer smiled kindly. Sometimes, facing the truth is the hardest thing, but it is also the first step to being free. From that moment, everything changed. The house was no longer a prison. It was a place where we could be honest, love each other, and begin again. As the evening turned into night, we sat together, feeling a little scared, but also hopeful. We knew that the real Christmas gift was the truth, something no one could take away. And so, in that quiet house, with the stars shining outside, we promised to be brave and honest from now on. The past was behind us, and the future was ours to shape. This Christmas was different. It was no longer about hiding or pretending. It was about being real and loving each other no matter what. I took my sister's hand and smiled. We had finally found a way to break free from the dark shadows of the past, and I knew that together we could build a new, better family.